Welcome to another video of Food Nourish Deep Dives, the videocast of foodnourish.net, where we explore topics like health, food, supplements, and alternative approaches to health and wellness. Today, we are tackling a really controversial one, a protocol that pretty much flips the script on everything we've been told about healthy eating, the carnivore diet.
So let's just get right into it. You've done everything you were told to do, right? You're buying the organic kale, you're eating the quinoa, you're following all the conventional wisdom. But you still feel, well, just not great. Maybe you're dealing with some nagging health issues, that constant brain fog, or maybe some weight that just refuses to budge. If that sounds familiar, then this is for you. We're going to explore a pretty radical idea. What if the problem isn't what you're missing from your diet, but what's already in it? And that brings us to this really provocative thought. What if some of those so-called healthy plant foods are actually the source of the problem? We're going to dig into the idea that for some people, the real path to feeling better isn't about adding another superfood smoothie, but about strategically taking things away. So, what exactly is the carnivore diet? Well, at its core, it's an elimination protocol. The goal is super simple. Remove every single potential dietary irritant. And we're not just talking low carb here, we're talking zero carb. The whole idea is to get back to an evolutionary baseline, eating only animal products to give your body a chance to heal and just reset. And believe me, when we say elimination, we really mean it. Everything from vegetables and fruits to greens and those inflammatory seed oils, it's all off the table. The goal here is to create a totally clean slate, a really simple nutritional environment where your body can finally stop fighting off all these potential irritants and just focus on healing. But why? Why would anyone possibly adopt such a restrictive approach? Well, the reasoning is actually rooted in science and our own evolution. You see, it's about more than just what you're eating today. It's about what our biology may have been designed for over millions of years. This timeline really puts our entire dietary history into perspective. For about 2 million years, human biology was shaped by a diet of energy-dense animal foods. Agriculture and all the plants that came with it, that's only about 10,000 years old. That's a tiny, tiny blip in our evolutionary history. And this leads to something called the evolutionary mismatch theory, the idea that our Stone Age bodies just haven't had enough time to adapt to our modern plant-heavy diet. Think about it. Plants can't run away, they can't fight back. So they developed their own chemical defenses, what we call anti-nutrients. Lectins, for example, can mess with your gut lining. Oxalates, which you find in superfoods like spinach, can form these sharp little crystals that lead to kidney stones or joint pain. And then there's phytates, which can literally block your body from absorbing key minerals like iron and zinc. When you eliminate plants, you eliminate all of these. But wait a minute, what about fiber? We're always told we need fiber for a healthy gut. Well, this diet brings up a fascinating paradox. For people with conditions like IBS or SIBO, fiber can actually make symptoms like bloating and pain worse by feeding the wrong kinds of bacteria. So by cutting out fiber completely, you might be giving your gut a chance to rest and repair. Yeah, your gut bacteria will change to adapt to an all-meat diet, but the real question is, does that new microbiome work better for your body? Hey, before we jump into the benefits and risks, just a quick heads up for anyone looking to optimize their health. If you pop over to foodnourish.net/deals, you'll find a whole bunch of deals on wellness and supplement brands we like, from major players like Perpetual Life, iHerb, Source Naturals, Nootropics Depot, and Biooptimizers. It's a great resource, and of course, you can get the link right there in the discussion. All right, so we've covered the why, let's get to the what. What do people actually experience when they do this? We're going to cover both the powerful benefits people report and, of course, the major controversies you've probably heard about. I mean, the anecdotal reports are just wild. People consistently talk about this radical weight loss, and not from counting calories, but from their appetite just naturally regulating itself. So many people experience that chronic brain fog finally lifting. And maybe the most significant thing, there are countless stories of inflammation dropping and even full remission from autoimmune conditions. And let's not forget the mental relief, the pure simplicity of just eating meat and not having to think about it. This quote from Dr. Georgia Ede, who's a Harvard-trained psychiatrist, really nails the mental clarity claim. Our brains are literally built from fat and cholesterol. So the argument here is that by giving your brain an abundance of these raw materials in their most bioavailable form, you're providing it with exactly what it needs to fire on all cylinders. Okay, this is the big one, the elephant in the room. You're eating nothing but meat, eggs, and butter.
So what in the world happens to your cholesterol? This is a huge, valid concern for a lot of people and their doctors, so it's absolutely crucial that we tackle this head on and look at the nuances.
So the key thing to get is that not all LDL cholesterol is the same. There's a huge difference between the small, dense LDL particles that are linked to risk and the large, fluffy particles. It turns out that high-fat, zero-carb diets often increase the large, fluffy kind, while also lowering triglycerides and raising your HDL, and that's a pattern many experts now believe is associated with lower cardiovascular risk, not higher. This diet also kind of turns other common fears on their head. You worried about scurvy? Well, fresh meat actually contains vitamin C, and without carbs competing for it, your body's need for it drops way down. Concerned about, constipation? For a lot of people, removing all that fermentable fiber is the very thing that finally resolves issues like bloating.
So you've heard the theory, you've heard the potential benefits, and you've heard the counterarguments. If you're curious, how would you actually try this? Well, this last section is a practical guide to running your very own 30-day self-experiment.
Okay, here's your roadmap. For the strictest version, the real elimination protocol, you want to stick to Tier 1, ruminant meats like beef and lamb, plus salt and water. That's it. That's the foundation. From there, you could consider foods in Tier 2, but things like dairy in Tier 4, that's in the gray area. You want to avoid that completely for the first 30 days, and then maybe reintroduce it carefully to see how your body actually reacts. Let's walk through that first month. Look, week 1 can be tough. This is the adaptation phase, what people call the keto flu. Managing your electrolytes here is everything. By week 2, your hunger signals really start to normalize. Week 3 is often when that stable energy and mental clarity really kick in. And by week 4, you set a whole new baseline, and you can truly, honestly assess how you feel.
Now, let's talk about the 2 biggest mistakes people make, because they're really important. First, not eating enough fat. Your body needs fat for fuel now, so lean meats just aren't going to cut it. Second, not getting enough electrolytes, especially salt, during that adaptation phase. Getting these 2 things right is the key to avoiding most of the bad side effects.
And this brings us to what is maybe the most important concept in all of this. N of 1. You see, in scientific research, N is the sample size, and N of 1 means the experiment has only one subject, you.
And because this is your experiment, the carnivore diet isn't a religion. It is not a universal prescription. It's best to think of it as a powerful diagnostic tool. You use it for 30, 60, maybe 90 days to establish a baseline for how good you can feel. And from there, you can start to discover what foods truly work for your unique biology.
Because ultimately, no study, no expert, no video can give you the final answer. The only way to really know is to listen to your own body. This whole protocol is about creating the quiet space you need to finally hear what it might have been trying to tell you all along. So after 30 days of this elimination experiment, what will you discover? Thanks for sticking with us. If this deep dive sparked your curiosity, I really recommend checking out the source article that's linked in the description below. If you found this valuable, please do us a favor and like the video. It really helps our channel grow and lets us keep delivering deep dives on these health topics. And of course, make sure you subscribe so you never miss another video. Thanks for watching.